Good morning, traders. Welcome to today's market review. This is Razak at CMTrading. Today's April 10th, 2019, and today is Wednesday morning. So looking at the major economic events of the day, lots of events coming out. We're starting out at 10:30 South African time this morning. Monthly GDP numbers coming out of Great Britain should affect the Great Britain pound because it has been hovering just lower, closer to the 130 level. Now, after that, at 145, this is really a very important number coming out of Europe. Main refinancing rate, that's a interest rate number that's coming out. That's really important number. It's followed up with a press conference with the ECB, so just be aware of that. Now, 2:30 South African time, monthly CPI number coming out of the United States. Not a major number, but you do want to know that the number is coming out, especially if there are any surprises. But later this evening, at 8 o'clock South African time, FOMC meeting minutes happening this evening. Okay, and that's a follow-up to the last rate decision. It's pretty much a press conference where the Central Bank of the United States, the Federal Reserve, actually testifies in front of Congress as to why they decided towards what economic strategy they're taking, and why they decided with the particular interest rate decision, the previous one. Now, looking at the markets, the euro is pretty much flat right before this refinancing rate. That's normal. South African rand gets stronger, and interest to support Aussie dollar on resistance. So things are rotating right now. The dollar getting a little bit weaker versus some of the forex symbols. Now, looking at the indices, JSE, the Johannesburg Stock Exchange, still hovers near resistance. Let's see if we could break higher. And Dow Jones sells off in front of the number. Okay, we're trading at 26,100-ish level. Now, looking at the commodities, gold trading above 1,300. That's important. And oil retraces at resistance of $64 a barrel. That was the next resistance. We'll take a look at that in just a moment. Now, lastly, looking at stocks, Apple, though, is pushing higher. Okay, which means that the markets are getting a little bit more selective as to what is going higher, and that may push the market even further higher. Now, let's take a look at the charts and see what we can expect from today's trading. So we're taking a look here at the Euro USD at a 4-hour chart. You can see pretty much we've been flatlining. Okay, this is pretty much flatlining between 112.89 and 112.20-ish level in the 60 pip range, and just sidelining here. Now, the point is that we're very close to the lows of the year. Okay, going down to 112-ish, 111.90-ish level is where we're hovering very close to. So with that said, later today, okay, as the number comes out, and it is an important number, we may see it bounce off of this area, or we may see it tackle further down. Okay, we're looking right now at a weekly chart, okay, just to give you a perspective of what's happening, and where further we can sell off. Okay, it does seem like it's very weak. It does seem like it's below its moving averages, and still want to hover lower. But until we get that confirmation, we can't jump into the trade with so much conviction. Okay, I'd rather not go into this number with some sort of position, especially since we look like we're consolidating in this area, and it's really an important area to consolidate. Now, looking at the GBP USD, also the same story. Okay, feeling the weakness, not feeling the strength anymore. Okay, GBP was really the stronger one out of the forex symbols, and it's just flatlining right here. Now, however, looking at the USD ZAR, getting stronger versus the dollar and correcting itself from 1450, okay, that we had that earlier this month, and now we're trading at 14 flat. Okay, now this 14 flat is an important support level. It is a Fibonacci retracement level, so if it does breach it, then that means we could go further down to 1350. Okay, however, just keep an eye on this. Just make sure that you either have stop losses in place, okay, in case we do bounce off of it. So those are two parameters that could possibly happen in the USD later today. Now, looking at the Aussie USD, excuse me, we're trading at 71.47. Now, we flatlined, and this is really a classic range-bound trading area. Look at that. Okay, right there is the top range, that there is the bottom range, and as long as we don't break above this, okay, 71, we may see it further sell off. Okay, however, if it does break this 71, our next resistance level is 71.90. Okay, so be aware of that. Okay, that's about 50 pip move. Nothing huge, but enough to get us involved in the trade. Okay, so a little bit of a potential there later today if this does break above this 71.50-ish level. Now, jumping into gold, all right, now this has really broken that previous trend line that we had going into March, and now we've pretty much flatlined at 1282, and we bounced off of it. We're trading at 1305 right now. So ultimately, the next resistance level is 1312. Okay, we're not that far away from it, but this could be just before the number as this rallies with this FOMC meeting minutes and this euro refinancing rate later today. So just be aware of that that it may, inch up a little bit higher and then sell off and trade within this range. Now looking at oil, okay, now this was really the one as it did trade and broke above this resistance level of 61. The next support level, the next resistance level is $64 a barrel, and it just sold off right off of it. Okay, now these historical numbers and historical resistance and support levels I put up a long time ago. Okay, it wasn't, like as if I did it yesterday. If you look back in some of my daily reviews, you would have seen that. And this is really trading very close to that. Okay, now if it breaks 64, like I said, it could continue going up to 67, 68, 69, and possibly getting all the way up to $74 a barrel. So with that said, okay, we are selling off just mildly here. It could be just because we're going into the number. It could be we're taking a little bit of a breather. We do have a bona fide upwards trend. And, this seems to be like this is, continuing and continuing. And every time we say, hey, okay, it's going to hit resistance here, maybe it'll sell off, it doesn't. Okay, so with that said, this is a somewhat of an important resistance level at $64 a barrel. So if it does not break above it, we may see it just rally back or sell back, excuse me, to 61.85 and just trade within a range until it finds some sort of impetus. You can see this clearly. Okay, as this comes and approaches the resistance level here. Now, I think that trading with the ZAR, as the ZAR has gotten weaker, the JSE has gotten stronger. That's normal. And now we're seeing a little bit of a reversal of that in the ZAR. ZAR is getting stronger. So does that mean that the JSE may sell off here? Potentially. Okay, now we are at a significant resistance level here at 52,500-ish level. So as long as it doesn't break above it, then we may have that sell-off going into today. Okay, but however, if this does continue its rally, and it may very well, that means the next resistance level is at 53,600-ish level, which may actually foray it. And you can see that in the RSI that we're above the 70 level, so that actually may be a tipping point onto a reversal. Okay, if it crosses over the 70 on the downside, that might be a correctional move. Now looking at the Dow Jones, now we're looking at a 5-minute chart. Let's look at a 4-hour chart that I think is a little bit more correct. We sold off tremendously over the last day or two. Basically just people taking the money off of the table. Okay, I started charting just a little bit at 26,400-ish level, and it's working out, but it's not a home run. Okay, selling off about 300 points after rallying about 5,000 points within reason. Okay, we're only about, like I said, we're only about at this level, we're only about 700 points from our all-time highs. So it's something to consider that we're still pretty much strong. I'd like to see some sort of reinforcement with the FOMC meeting minutes later today to see some sort of jump. Now you could see this as clearly that this was previous resistance several times. Okay, as we hit that several times, this is subsequent support. So as long as it maintains this 26,170-ish level or above the 140-ish level, we could potentially see it bounce off. Okay, however, if it does retrace, the next real support level is 25,829. So again, we're not in massive moves like we were 4 or 5 months ago, but we still have.
This conference will now be recorded.
We still have some potential to either go higher or make some sort of a correction as the market corrects itself throughout the year. Okay, this is really important. Now, lastly, looking at Apple. All right, now Apple has been very, very strong. We're looking at a daily chart, and it's really just continuing trading higher, hit that 200 mark, okay, which is really very important. I haven't been at that 200 mark since we've sold off. I'd like to see follow through for this really to be a bona fide rally and for this to actually carry the market higher, okay, which potentially it could. Now, if you look at a 4-hour chart, you can see it a little bit clearer. We hit that 200 level and then sold off. We're trading just shy of it at 198. Okay, now looking at the other stocks, not trading higher. The only one that's trading higher is Amazon, which makes sense. Okay, these are the two growth stocks. These are the two stocks that we're looking for in terms of giving us some direction in the markets moving forward. So with that said, I'd like to see some follow through, especially if the FOMC gives us some direction as to a bullish and kind of sets aside some of the recessionary fears. This is Fred Razak. I want to wish you guys a great trading day. Thank you.